what happened is at the end of Jeremy Corbyn's leadership campaign, there was lots of people who said, well, what do we do now? What organisational form do we need to support you now you're going into administration in terms of the Labour Party? And they decided that there should be some organisational form, but it needed to be open and flexible where people could come together and voluntarily work and campaign to support the new Jeremy Corbyn leadership of the Labour Party. So they decided to set up an organisation, they chose a name, and someone said, actually, we've got to keep the momentum going, so they decided on the name Momentum. So around the country now, people are coming together. They're saying, now Jeremy Corbyn's leader of the Labour Party, what can we do to help him? What policies do we need to develop at our local level that reflect the policies that Jeremy's advocating nationally? What creative ways can we undertake of campaigning? And it's just buzzing. It is absolutely. This is such a creative period in politics in this country. So Momentum is an organisation that's come together of volunteer activists. It's oriented towards the Labour Party, obviously, because we're a Labour Party leadership. We'd like people to join the Labour Party. Even if they can't join and they support us, work with us. I'll just give you one example. We're going to local elections soon. The government now has cut back on government grants yet again. Most of the local authorities across the country now have lost so much money that they can barely now maintain their statutory duties, which is protecting the environment, providing social care, education and other services like that. Care, social care, is critically on the edge now, and that's care for older people, younger people with special needs, people who just in the normal run we would always think needed to be cared for. Large numbers, hundreds of thousands, have actually lost that care now completely. The others have minimal levels of care, and local authorities are saying we can't cope anymore. The government has come back and said, well, you can raise your council tax by 2p. We've consulted with the professionals, the Director of Social Services, and they've said that only goes halfway, and some local authorities are not even raising the money either. So we're facing, just as we did in the NHS, a care crisis, we're facing it now in social care too. So people are now saying, well, we've got to do something. And the way they can demonstrate against the cuts that the government are undertaking is get out there campaigning against the cuts, supporting their local councils against the cuts and campaigning against the cuts, winning the elections, which will be a referendum on the cuts in May, and then mobilising a national campaign against the government. And that's the work that we're undertaking now from the Labour leadership point of view, that organisations like Momentum will be supporting.